What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to defend better in FIFA 23. So we're just in some gameplay at the moment, in some just quick play, and I'm going to show you some tactics on your best way to defend, just naturally the things that you might not already be doing in FIFA. So we've got this on professional difficulty at the moment. It will all translate with what I'm about to say. So if we give them the possession eventually, the best way I personally set up is not necessarily rushing out. So for instance, we're on the attack, we're on the defense here. Obviously, you want to be pushing as much as you can in the midfield. So I normally go, for instance, with my wingers. I try and bring them forward to try and get the ball if I'm on that counter attack. Obviously, in terms of strikers, I tend to leave them. But the biggest thing that I'll give you the hint at the moment is this right here. If you are playing a 4 at the back and you've got a CDM, you have the button on the right, or it's RB for instance, to be able to obviously kind of make a player or a second player jockey your opponent, which is going to be absolutely key. Because a good thing to do, especially, and if you can see it here, you'll see the little green tag above him. You'll see him just kind of go in there. You cannot do this forever. As you can see, they will lose there. So now look, if we try and press it, we can't do anything because Luke Shaw has ran out of his kind of extra energy to be able to do it. You want to utilize that pretty much if you are utilizing your CDM, or at least a centre mid. So if you are a 4 at the back, I personally don't use as much centre backs as possible. I will try and slow down this attacker, and once he kind of gets into the box, you've got no options but then to change to your centre back. I wouldn't let them necessarily get a shot off, because naturally if you are playing somebody of a certain caliber, they will naturally be able to get it in. They'll do a little bit of skill. They might even just do a little dribble and it will get round your centre back quite easily. So once you're in the box, you've kind of got to go and almost all guns blazing. So right here, if I'm personally on the defense, I'd be cutting off the angle, trying to get him into the corner, maybe trying to push him back to that kind of little bit here where Bruno Fernandes is. So that is kind of like the tactics of, you don't want them going towards goal as much as possible. If you can push them onto a weak foot, if you are very information knowledge on obviously the players, if you know, for instance, Van Persie's left-footed, Salah, Messi, and then you know your right-footed, and then also if you are taking this into Ultimate Team, you need to know your 5-star weak foot, because they will be able to utilize both. If you've got somebody like a Rivaldo who normally has a 2-star weak foot, you know that he doesn't want to go on his left footers. Pretty much you could probably take a couple of shots on that left and they probably won't trouble your keeper. When it comes to going down the wing, like I said, you want to be jockeying here. If you utilize your LT, it will allow almost like a crab run almost. And it's kind of good if you mix it with the sprint button as well. You kind of get a little bit of a sprint on. You don't necessarily get the full work. So if, for instance, Salah's cutting in here, you will not keep up with him in that sprint if he's sprinting. But I like to use it, especially when you do see opponents like this, all the way going into that kind of corner of the box, ready for a sweat across goal. It gives you a little bit more of a movement. You can move yourself left and right a little bit easier when it comes to defending, because then you can try and get the block, as realistically you know they're not trying to shoot there. They either want to skill round you and try and get through, or they obviously want to go in for that pass it across goal, and it's really then probably a 90-10 that it goes in if the shot is clean. When you come in against here, so say for instance they're through on goal, I personally, it depends on the scenario of the game. If it's 90th minute and you're 2-1 up and you don't want them to go through, hack them, get rid of them, get it out. I personally would try and red card no matter what there. That is just naturally going to be the best way to deal with a one-on-one. Bringing the keeper out and then kind of not bringing and then letting him go back in a little bit. You don't want to overcommit because they will just be able to chip you quite easily. That is obviously why to bring him out. And then also keeper movement is another great one. I have got a video on that on the channel. If you don't know how to move your keeper, that is just another step. In terms of slide tackles, it's very rare. If I see a slide tackle opportunity, which is totally down to timing, it's kind of a 50-50 ball. Maybe you think you can get there, but you're not going to come away with the ball. Then yeah, slide him, because you don't want them to get to the ball first. If you slide and it goes out of play, you can recuperate and you can go again. So for instance here, I know full well I'm going to get that ball. It's not a problem. Sometimes you might not get the timing right. Maybe the animation screws you over a little bit, but that is just naturally how football works. And as you can see there, the sliding can come at a cost there. But if we are jockeying as much as we can, we kind of utilize and we know where the passing's going, so we know he's going to come across. Martinez is there to step in. It is just naturally simulating how your opponent works. You will find, especially online, a lot of players, especially none of necessarily the non-elite players, will play in one or two ways. They won't really change their game style throughout the whole of it. They'll keep trying that same tactic. They may go across goal. If you see that they're constantly peppering that left wing, they might always try it. Or they might try the exact same tactic, but on the right side. It just naturally is a default, and you don't realize it until you hit the sort of elite level and people can literally change to a 5-back, 3-back. They maybe push on the ultra attacking. It all depends on what you want. It's a great slide tackle there, and then obviously it is just naturally jockeying, using the B button, which is going to just be a little bit of a lunge in. Again, I would use that kind of when they are stopped, like somewhere like there. If you know you can't get the ball back with maybe running it out, just make sure it's going out, because you don't necessarily want to overcommit and then he just skills you with one move. You don't want to be pressing too high as well. You want to keep your shape, get it going, and as you can see there, even on just a normal professional, it's very easy to do, and it's no different to when obviously the players are doing it online, because naturally the computer is going to be very much more automated in following a same pattern, but they are there depending on the level of difficulty to be able to find them spots. If they know they can play that pass, it's a computer. They know they can play that pass. So I would utilize jockey, which is LT, utilizing the second man kind of jockey whilst using your CDM. If you're not necessarily pushing with the centre backs, that's going to be RB, and then naturally just timing your challenges. That's going to be the best way that you can get it done. Like I said, slide tackles are not key unless it is literally 100% you know you can, because as soon as you slide, you're pretty much done. You're out the game. There's no chance of you coming back from that. I personally would slide at a very, very minimum rate unless you're getting frustrated, and then that's when you know slides will come out. The B button, like I said, is going to be more corner based. When somebody's stopped and you're kind of really on the shoulder, that's going to work really well. So for instance, like there, instead of going to the ball, you know he's already going to go back. I'm going to bring Casemiro back, already noticing that there is some movement in that left. At the minute, there's nobody there, so we'll get the second man press on the go, and we know he's going to go for the shot there. Wins the corner, but we don't get the goal, and that is all about minimizing the chances that they can score. When it comes to dribbling and somebody with a little bit of skill, it can be a bit harder. You've just got to identify as much as you can, as they will try and use almost the same skills over and over again, or at least a lot of the time in the matches. If they've gone for a roulette, you know to jockey back and stab as soon as you get on that outswing, as they can't move after that. Heading wise, again, it's just very standard. Blocking the corner as much as you can. A lot of people do the pass of the corner. They don't necessarily go and in-swing it in. They'll pass it to the corner, maybe even try like edge of the box and go for the shot that way. As it stands, you've just got to try and get in the way of that, especially if it is a power shot. That is all you can do realistically. They're going to be my tips for defending. It's personally how I defend and manage to win a fair few matches on FIFA. Let me know if it helped, and if you have any more questions, leave them down below.